And a good morning to you. I didn't tell anybody about that. A couple people in my little circle, but I didn't tell a lot of people about what you just saw. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we start off the new year here in 2025 is proudly brought to you from inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. That's right, baby. We got Honda all over the place. They've been with us for over a decade, and now they are our exclusive studio partner, Great Lakes Honda City, where I get my Hondas. And I don't just say that, folks. You know, when I tell you I do something, that's what we do. So, Honda, thank you so much. Great Lakes Honda City, formerly known as Honda City of Liverpool. They have been with us, as I said, for over a decade, and now they have stepped up into our studio partnership. And now Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora will be proudly brought to you from inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios moving forward. With that being said, inside of MonPawsPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Happy to be here with you. We got Papa Joe here. PJ said, what are we doing for Thursday? You're down in Atlanta right now covering the Peach Bowl. I said, PJ, I got you covered. I'm flying in, I'm flying out so I can get home and get PJ on the line here with us. So Papa Joe talking with us in hour number one about the college football playoff, fresh off of my time at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl down in Atlanta, Georgia at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which was an instant classic double overtime game between Texas and Arizona State. Also wrapped up in this quarterfinal round, we know in the Rose Bowl who's moving forward between Ohio State and Oregon. Ohio State putting on a clinic against the team that they lost by a point to during the season. Oregon in their first season in the Big Ten, and Ohio State reminding them who the Big Ten belongs to. And so Ohio State getting that victory. We'll discuss that as well. And we'll get into the matchup in the Fiesta Bowl between Boise State and Penn State. Boise State tried to make it a game. I'm a little confused at some of the things that happened there with the officials. Fourth down, looked like Penn State was losing the ball. Then all of a sudden they get a field goal. Some things happening, but then in the second half, Penn State's defense took over like it did in the game against SMU. And of course, due to a tragedy down in a city that I love dearly, and I was actually just talking about with my buddy Donald because we both did Hurricane Katrina relief together in Operation Helping Hands back in May of 2006 with Marywood University. The All-State Sugar Bowl was postponed from last night into today and this afternoon. It was going to be yesterday night, then it was today at 8:35 or somewhere, 8:45, and now they moved it up to 4 o'clock. So the All-State Sugar Bowl between Notre Dame and Georgia is going to happen today at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. But before we talk about anything today, I want to take a moment of silence for those that lost their lives, those that have been injured as they recover, and to the person that decided to commit this heinous crime, that he turns his heart to God, and that no soul is lost, and to everybody, all the first responders and the officers that were there to try and prevent this from being any worse. I want to take a moment of silence for a city I love and for humanity. I thank you for that. To the city of New Orleans, we love you. To the people that are affected in and out of New Orleans, we love you too. And to everybody that was going in to visit, think about the tens of thousands of people that are going to this game for Notre Dame and Georgia. They're just going to have some fun, got away from work. They're going to go hang out and relax, and then this happened. So I pray for you all too, and we love you too. In Jesus' most precious name, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. With that being said, in hour number two, I'm going to be joined at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. We will be featuring my airport conversation with Will Amica. You know how we do it here on Wake Up Call. If we got to get something done, we get it done. I got off a flight, went and found a spot that was relatively quiet, tucked myself into that spot, and recorded something with Will Amica to make sure that we had our all-new Dolphin Dive for this week on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and our consistent, positive, and focused coverage, unique coverage, and original content with Moyne College and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. Will Amica, West Genesee alum, New York State champion, and Lemoyne guard will be joining me in our all-new special coming up in just a little bit here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. PJ and I are here with you on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. And I'm going to bring in PJ right now to have this conversation with us. So this is like magic here. You don't see PJ, and then all of a sudden, boom, there he is. So PJ is here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And Papa Joe and I are going to have some fun speaking on the college football playoff. PJ, what it is, what it be, what it is, what it isn't. How are you this morning?
Good. It's a little chilly down here, Daniel. It's going down to 38 degrees tonight. So I'm not sure. I'm going to have to wear something other than shorts. Well, I refuse to do that, though. So if it's 38 out, I'm still wearing shorts.
Well, I can tell you right now that my family was happy that I got into town when I did, coming back last night covering the college football playoff and then getting right back on a plane and coming home because we are supposed to be having a winter storm potentially here. It has already started snowing. There's snow on the ground, and today looks like one of those days where you should stay in, bundle up, have some hot chocolate, and watch the college football playoff. So it might be 38 down there, PJ, but you don't have a winter storm going on. So
No.
I hope you stay warm. I hope you stay well. And looking at what we have going on here in the college football playoff, I'm going to bring up the bracket for us and let everybody know what's happened here inside of this bracket. The official bracket of the college football playoff, we know through the first round that Texas defeated Clemson, and we know that Ohio State defeated Tennessee. Penn State defeated SMU. I was at that game in Happy Valley. And Notre Dame defeated Indiana. That gave us Texas, Arizona State, which is now Texas after double overtime. And we have Ohio State and Oregon, which is now Ohio State. And then we have Penn State and Boise State was the first game played. We know that Penn State's moving on there. And then we have the game today due to the tragedy, the game getting moved to today for Notre Dame and Georgia. So, PJ, let's talk about Texas. And, well, actually, let's go back to the first game. Let's talk about Penn State, Boise State. Your thoughts on the Penn State defense? I made mention that seeing their defense live was insanity, that they have guys on that defensive side of the ball that can take games over. They also have a rushing attack that can work. And one of the gentlemen that I interviewed, quarterback Drew Aller, he definitely stepped up in this game against Boise State and put on a little bit of a clinic at times and definitely tested their defense. Ashton Genty got to over 100 yards, but he did not break Barry Sanders' record. He needed around 200 to do that. So your thoughts on Penn State, Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl?
I was surprised that Penn State looked as strong as they did. I'm by no means a Big Ten fan, and I have to say something about Ohio State later on in the show, but Penn State looked like they were unbeatable, and they were. Boise State didn't look like anything. I mean, once they shut down Jonte, their game plan was shot. I mean, their game is predicated on the run. Yep. And then they pass. But Penn State shut them down. Kudos to Penn State. Frankly, it was over before it started. So, good win for Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State had Boise State had moments in this game and moments where they were striking, moments where they had wide open opportunities, and they took those opportunities. They did some good things, but Penn State has proven to be too much. And we want to go to the conversation that we have about the Big Ten and the unfair advantage that typically goes to the Big Ten, definitely Ohio State and Michigan, sometimes to Penn State, but not always. Penn State's been screwed out of games before where I thought they should be in a better situation, and they weren't. I thought they had worked towards certain things, and they still didn't get those. So when we look at Penn State itself and we look at the Big Ten, the reality to me is that the Big Ten that does get an unfair advantage, I've said repeatedly, they have the unfair advantage. But if they take care of business, winning the game is winning the game. So in the case of the Big Ten, yes, they do get better placement in seeding. They are taken care of in the preseason. They are taken care of when the college football playoff polls come out. And when that first poll comes out, it kind of lets you know some of the writing on the wall and some of the narratives of the teams that they want to be in things. In the case of Penn State this year, Penn State this year, I can't speak to other years, I can speak to right now, they've held up their end of the bargain. They may have an unfair advantage being in the Big Ten when it comes to the polls, but they carried it through. Because we can say, okay, PJ, you know what? Some of these people aren't on the list when you go to the nightclub, but some of them always get in the door. And the Big Ten's one of those that always gets in the door. But once you're in the nightclub, how you dance, well, that's up to you. And Penn State's been dancing. Penn State's been taking care of business, and they have definitely caught my eye. I respect James Franklin even more so, having been in his building and gotten to hear him speak. And being around him, being around the staff, getting to talk to his offensive and defensive coordinators, there's a lot to be said about the family. And what I can tell you about Penn State is a couple things. One, that again, I can't say the point enough. That defense is scary. And two, there's something about them saying we are, because it's we are Penn State, but all they have to say is we are. And when I spoke with their defensive coordinator, Tom Allen, he said a bunch of things about the family, and then he went, we are. And I just thought that was cool. So, I mean, what can you say to the defense of Penn State? Offensively, yeah, they got things going, and offensively they have a tremendous, tremendous tight end. And some consider that this guy's going to be a first-round pick. I wouldn't be surprised if he is a first-round pick, if he's a high pick. Tyler Warren, the tight end for Penn State. What are your thoughts on this team, to go a little bit deeper into it? Tyler Warren specifically, and that defense.
Warren's a stud. He proved that. He was the go-to guy anytime, any count. I did notice that Penn State only gave up 2.7 yards a rush when you've got the leading runner and playing against them. It seems like their linebackers just keyed on Ashton, and that sort of left the game open to Boise State throwing the ball, and they didn't do well. They were harassed all the time. Penn State looked very good. I don't remember seeing a game this year, Penn State, where they dominated a really good football team like this. I mean, this is like the Ohio State-Tennessee game. I mean, Penn State was just dominant, and they deserve to be where they are.
Yeah, so we look at Penn State moving on here. They will play the winner of Georgia and Notre Dame, and that game is going to be played today. PJ, let's jump into that game. That game's going to be on television. I'm going to be wrapped up, bundled up, hanging out in my nice little home theater that we have here at the Tortora Lagoon. So I'm going to be hanging out in that nice theater. And I'll be watching the game with Lily, with some snacks and a nice blanket while it snows outside. Your take on this game, Notre Dame going up against Georgia. If you want to say any words about the tragedy, you can feel free to do that as well. And of course, this is a unique situation that they're dealing with down there, unfortunately, and hopefully it stays a unique situation and doesn't continue anywhere else. But just your thoughts on the fact we were supposed to see this game and be able to talk about it today, and the only reason why we're not talking about the All-State Sugar Bowl's result is because of someone who decided to take the lives of people and do it on the first day of 2025. So if you want to say anything to that, and then we can discuss Notre Dame and Georgia. I find myself hard-pressed to just simply talk about the game knowing what happened yesterday.
It's difficult to talk about the game when something like this happens. It was embarrassing to the country, certainly to the city of New Orleans, who, frankly, is not policed very well. That we know for sure. So, again, you spoke about it earlier. Our prayers go out to them. As opposed to the game, Georgia's defense is going to have to play a very difficult Notre Dame game. I harp on Notre Dame a lot because they're independent. They deem to belong into a conference, but they don't do that because of Notre Dame. And every year they get ranked, and every year they seem to be around, a national championship talk. And they are again this year, except they're playing Georgia, which is going to have to carry the SEC banner. Yeah. Because Texas looked like poop yesterday, and Georgia's defense will probably win the game. Gunnar Stockton is is the quarterback now, as opposed to Beck, who got hurt. Now he had surgery. Stockton is supposed to have a big time game, and the more you read about this kid in high school and in early college, he is the real deal.
Yeah.
He's just got to show it. That's all. He's got to show it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, Gunnar Stockton, I mean, looking at the fact that he's in a place right now where, I mean, this is Georgia is one of those programs where you sit there and you think, how can a team possibly win a game? Oh, by the way, shall I say this? Remember last year? Remember when Florida State lost their quarterback and they weren't allowed in the college football playoff because the committee was like, no, they're, whatever. They're not going to win. Whatever the committee thought, they didn't put them in. Well, didn't Georgia lose Carson Beck? And haven't I said repeatedly that what they did to Florida State, they would never do to an SEC school? They wouldn't do to Alabama. They wouldn't do to Georgia. They haven't done to Alabama when Tua wasn't there. And what did they just do, PJ? Do you realize the parallel of this and how the juxtaposition is clear? That when Florida State lost Jordan Travis, they were not allowed in the college football playoff. But after Carson Beck went down with an injury for Georgia, they didn't even imagine taking Georgia out.
Well, this kid's supposed to be better than Beck. His kid's got a big-time arm. He's a dual-threat quarterback, which I hate to say. I'm going to have to enjoy this game. If he does project his dualism, he's a different kind of guy. Carson Beck, all his credit, is probably going to be not a first-round pick this year, but maybe a high-round pick for the pros. And this kid we're going to see for 2 years. So if he turns out to play today like he's supposed to, then we'll see him again next year, maybe the year after that. So I think he's a redshirt sophomore. So he's got maybe 1 year or maybe 2 years. But he's supposed to be the real deal.
Yeah, and this is, I wonder now, though, is this what the College Football Playoff Committee is essentially saying to us? Like, if your quarterback goes down, we'll assess and look at some film on your backup quarterback, and if we think he's good enough, we'll let you in. And if we don't think you have a good enough backup quarterback, you can't get in. I mean, I feel like they're still probably fuming at Florida State right now, and rightly so, and still probably Mike Norvell still feeling that, unfortunately. But with Carson Beck going down, and he's decided that he's going to go to the NFL, so unfortunately, that's the end of Carson Beck. Of what we've seen of him in college. That's it. And so sad to say, but that's the his ending of his career in college was not by his doing. And I never like to see something like that happen. I want people to be able to leave on their own, but he gets injured. I will say this about Carson Beck. Gunnar Stockton comes into the game for Carson Beck, and they end up defeating Texas, the only team to defeat Texas this season, and they did it twice, once in the regular season and once in the SEC championship. But Gunnar Stockton comes in, then he has to go out. Carson Beck comes in overtime with a lame arm. He's literally out there with his right arm to his side, hands the ball off, and they score a touchdown, and the game's over. And you're sitting here looking at this saying to myself, this guy, Carson Beck, you know what I mean? He actually did get to leave on his own. Like, yeah, he got hurt and he didn't get to be in the whole game, but he was responsible for being a part of that last play. Think about that, PJ. How many people that have ever played football would walk out there with a lame arm saying, if I get hit again, this thing might fly off my body, and I'm going to go ahead and go in there in overtime, be the leader that I know I can be, talk to my team in the huddle, hand that ball off, and win the dang game. I mean, have you ever seen anything like that with a guy like Carson Beck walking in and doing that?
We saw it last year when Brock Purdy did the same thing for Sam Cisco. I mean, he was really hurt and couldn't throw the ball. And he would fling the ball out for a 5-yard dump off or something like that. But he played the majority, or not the minority of the game with a bad arm, couldn't throw the ball. But all had to do was just give the ball to CMC, and they were off and running. So there is a parallel, not quite as bad as this one, though. But Purdy was just as hurt.
Yeah. You bring up a good point with guys that are stepping in. And we know back in the day, back when they didn't really care about concussions or monitor these things and this and that, there was guys like the John Elways, the Dan Marinos, the Joe Montanas, the Steve Youngs, the Troy Aikmans, the Brett Favres, and so on and so forth that were out there just doing what they do. Looking at Gunnar Stockton this season, he played up against, I know PJ knows this team really well, the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles. So they played up against Tennessee Tech, went 10 of 12 for 90 yards, and then against UMass, he went 3 of 4 for 45 yards. Not until he went up against Texas when he had to play with Carson Beck coming out did he have to truly be out there for the most amount of his passes. 12 of 16 he went, 71 yards, 75% completion percentage. In the time he's been on the field, which has been minimal, his completion percentage is 75%, 75%, and 83.1%, giving him 78.1. He's 25 of 32 for 206 yards. And guess what? Gunnar Stockton comes into this game without ever throwing a touchdown pass up to this point. So we look at this and say to ourselves, this is his first opportunity to do so. Well, ever throwing a touchdown pass this season, I should say. In 2023, he had 2 touchdown passes, but he has not thrown a touchdown pass this season, and I feel like that is setting up Georgia to go out there and do something special. For that little thing to show up on your screen, Gunnar Stockton has not thrown a touchdown pass this season, and then boom, he'll probably throw one in the first 2 minutes. What are your thoughts on Gunnar Stockton? Do you believe the hype that this guy can go out there and command this? I mean, Georgia, Alabama, there's a few teams in the country that can say our backup is probably better than 90% of the starters out there. And Alabama and Georgia are 2 of the programs that can say that. I don't know a lot of programs that can make that statement and actually live by it with over 130 FBS football programs. I mean, is there really anybody other than Alabama and Georgia that can say our second string and our third string can beat your first string? But we're going to find out, PJ. You think this guy's going to be that good? Do you believe the hype?
Well, Kirby Smart teams are certainly going to be coached well. We know that. I did a little research on Gunnar. In his last year in high school, he threw 56 touchdown passes with 3 interceptions. And, I'm not sure. I think it was a small school. But it doesn't matter when the guy can throw the ball like that. You still got to be pinpoint control. I want to see him run a little bit. I don't know if they'll be able to run against Notre Dame, but he needs to extend the play a little bit. So I think he'll respond okay.
Yeah, we'll see him out here. This is one thing that I know is it's funny when a backup quarterback comes in, no matter what level it is, be it high school, be it college, be it pro, I sit here and I say to myself, all right, well, let's hope for the best. When I see Alabama or Georgia turn around and bring in their backup quarterback, I'm like, well, this guy's probably going to throw about 9 touchdowns. So, like, that's just how it looks in this thing. So we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. PJ and I will be back momentarily right after this.
Thank you, Bud. You saved my life.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're gonna be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever gonna have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with a special message for those of you that may not have heard it. You're going to hear a lot of this. On Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I am proud to announce that Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora has a very special message going into 2025. And that message being the fact that the wonderful Great Lakes Honda City is now our exclusive studio. Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We have been partnered with Great Lakes Honda City for over a decade. You knew them before as Honda City of Liverpool, and they now are our exclusive studio partner. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora coming to you from inside. I had like an hour and a half of sleep yesterday, folks. If I say my name wrong, that's that's my sleep's fault. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here with you from inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. So happy to be here with you. Happy to be hanging out where sports truly meets that thing called life. So thank you for being here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the broadcast, and we appreciate you so very much. We're trying to get PJ unmuted here so that we could talk to him, and so we gotta hit the unmute button. We got PJ on mute right now, so we got to see if he can figure it out. This is one of those things. This is like MacGyver. We're going to see if PJ can unmute himself. So I just clicked on the button. Let's see if he clicks on the button. There it is. Look at that. We did it. PJ figured it out with a paper clip and a rubber band, just like MacGyver. So Papa Joe.
She's laughing over here.
Let's go into where we're at right now. And that being the conversation that we're going to have on the Peach Bowl. But before we do that, I want to get into Ohio State and Oregon. Ohio State and Oregon, the midday game, the early evening game, if you will, yesterday for January 1st, heading into the new year. I said that Oregon was ripe for a loss, and they got one. Ohio State beat them in probably the first 4 minutes of the game. So Ohio State lost to them this season, 32-31. I know you got some things to rant about when it comes to Ohio State and what they did against Oregon. They put on a clinic. They took care of business. And despite some type of a push toward the end by Oregon, the deficit was way too high. And Oregon simply couldn't pay the bill. So the Ducks are out. The Buckeyes continue. Your thoughts?
This is cool. One of the quotes that came out said that Ohio State quacked the code, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Quacked the code. You're right. In the first 5 minutes, the game was over. I saw a receiver that looked like he was a pro. And this kid's a freshman, 6'3", could jump anywhere, pulled in all sorts of passes. He had 187 yards. He had over 100 yards in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, and Ryan Day, you know, some of the people are not giving this guy enough credit, me, including me. They're saying, well, he should be fired because he can't beat Michigan. He can't do that. How can you say that about a guy like that? This guy's winning percentage is over 80%. He's a first-class guy. He recruits well. He's not an Urban Meyer, that's for sure. He wins. He wins with class. He loses with class. Um, anyway, he needs to be congratulated because his game plan was absolutely perfect. They wanted to jump on Oregon fast. They did it fast, and their defense held up. Gabriel did. He looked like he didn't even know what game it was in. He looked lost for the first half at least. They tried to make it a game, but you saw the talent on the field. It's like when, just recently here, Florida beat Tulane. Tulane lost their quarterback because he was egotistical enough to leave the team, leave his teammates hanging. And Florida outclassed them because they have better athletes.
Yeah.
Ohio State has better athletes. They have for the last couple of years. Their recruiting class is number 2 this year. They're not going to be stopped. I hate to say this for me, but they are legitimately going to be the national champion this year because I don't see Texas stopping them. Texas had a big game in itself to beat an absolutely resourceful Arizona State team. But Texas they better watch some film. They better watch a hell of a lot of film because these guys are like the mini Tampa Bay Buck. That's how good they are.
Yeah, and you just look at this and Oregon, what they had this season on an undefeated season was something and it's almost like you want to go into the college football playoff with a loss. It's almost like you want to know what it's like to lose. You want to have that under your belt, and then you want to be able to learn from it and move forward. When you're undefeated, I mean, everybody's going to gun for you. That's just reality, right? You want to be the team that beats that team, and in the case of Ohio State, it was more to it because Ohio State's been playing Oregon the last few years out of conference. Now they're in conference together. So now these games matter even more, and Oregon defeating Ohio State in the regular season helped prevent Ohio State from going to the Big Ten championship. Penn State goes instead. So that game was close. And when you're that close, one of two things is going to happen. Either a team like Oregon's going to go, wow, we only won by a point. That's not going to happen again. We're going to shore up this stuff. Or Ohio State's going to say, we've cracked the code, like you said, and we know how to beat this thing. So the next time we see it, we know the moves to make. It's kind of like playing a video game. Playing a video game, trying to get to the next level, you got to beat the big bad at the end of this level, and you didn't do it, but you figured out the weaknesses, and you figured out if you do it this way, this works. So no, I didn't win this time, but if I go right at this spot, if I hold patience for this, if I go here, I can attack my opponent better, and I'm going to be able to defeat them next time, and I'm going to get to the next level. Well, that's what Ohio State did. They got to the next level of this college football playoff game, and they're moving forward. In this game, they scored the first six scores of the game. The first 6 times that there was a score on the board was Ohio State. They scored in the first quarter, 2 touchdowns. Then they had a field goal, 2 touchdowns, and a field goal in the second quarter. Oregon did not score until there was literally, not joking, no time left in the second quarter when Dylan Gabriel found Trayshawn Holden for a 5-yard touchdown pass that made it 34-8 after the 2-point conversion. Dylan Gabriel on a pass too low and made it 34-8 at halftime. Ohio State comes out and scores the first 6 times that we see points on the board come from Ohio State. Then in the second half, Oregon comes out, they get a touchdown, then Ohio State responds, then Oregon gets another touchdown. The problem is Oregon needed a lot of touchdowns. They needed a lot of things. They still lost by 20, even though they outscored Ohio State in the second half. They lost by 20 in this game. The deficit, like I said, was too high in the first half. 41-21. Ohio State was leaving nothing to the imagination, leaving nothing out there. No question that when they were close to Oregon in the regular season, that was not a mistake. That was not a fluke. That 32-31, the closest team to Oregon and potentially beating Oregon. Remember, Boise State only lost by 3 to Oregon this season, but even closer was Ohio State. And they let you know. They figured out what it was. They knew what was going on. They took care of business. Jeremiah was incredible. Will Howard had the game of his life. And Oregon looked like, see, here's the thing with the Pac-12. The Pac-12 historically hasn't really been in the college football playoff. They just haven't. Oregon and Ohio State, remember, here's something crazy. Here's some history for you, PJ. Oregon and Ohio State have only played each other twice in the college football playoff. And Ohio State has been responsible for kicking Oregon out both times. The first time they did it was in the first ever college football playoff. The first CFP national championship, Ohio State beat Oregon. And now in the path to the national championship in the quarterfinals, Ohio State beat Oregon. So head-to-head, Ohio State is 2-0 against Oregon, personally responsible for kicking the Ducks out of the college football playoff every time they've been in, which is only twice. But the Pac-12, the go fast, right? The Big 12, the Pac-12, talking about that go fast, get out there, not necessarily play a lot of defense, but just make sure you score a lot of points. When you run into a Big Ten team that wants to play in the trenches, wants to slow your game down, wants to run the ball, and wants to be physical and not have this, score a lot of points, but wants to smack you in the mouth with their defense, what we're seeing nationally is that Penn State and Ohio State are bringing that Big Ten flair and that Big Ten flavor, and they're saying, I don't know where y'all play, and I don't know what y'all do, but we play defense here. And that defense is showing up with Ohio State and Penn State.
Well, for everything that we talk about, like me, we talk about the SEC. You're talking about Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia. Defense is the key, and they play fast. Oregon picked up on this a couple of years ago and started playing fast, which is why they started winning fast. SEC football is hard-nosed, tough football, and we saw that on display yesterday. I hate to admit it, but Ohio State, I think, is finally there where they can say, well, we can play just as fast and just as tough as the SEC. And they're going to prove it. And I don't think they're going to be beat, Daniel. After watching Texas yesterday, and what Ewers didn't look that tough to me at all. After what I saw yesterday with Arizona State, I think Texas is up against too much. I think that they're going to lay down, and I think Ohio State's going to do exactly what they did yesterday. Yeah. They're going to run the ball, and they're going to be defensive. They're going to throw this freshman kid out there to catch everything, and it's going to be over. I hate to say that, but I just don't see it being competitive. And then whoever they're going to play in the final is not going to make any difference because they're that good.
Well, and that's the thing about a healthy Ohio State, which you hope that they are, right? You have a healthy Ohio State. If they make it past Texas, they're probably going to have Georgia. And I mean, if we see Ohio State, Penn State, we could. But the thing about Georgia is that how good is Gunnar Stockton? We know their defense can play. We know that they have offensive weapons and skill. We know they have a great coach. But the question comes down to how good is Gunnar Stockton? And I know that there's a bunch of positions on the field, but let's be real. When you don't have a quarterback, you don't win. When you have a good quarterback, you got the opportunity to win and change things. Think about teams in the end. It doesn't matter. NFL, wherever. Right? Think about the Minnesota Vikings. They're okay. They did some good things with Kirk Cousins, right? But then they bring in Sam Darnold and they draft J.J. McCarthy, and people are saying, well, what the hell are the Vikings going to do? Look at what Sam Darnold's done. Look at how much of an effect he has made on that team and how good they've been. Look at Pat Mahomes. Before he came to the Kansas City Chiefs, they were like a 2-4 win team. And now they're a dynasty. So you can't say, and by the way, Travis Kelce was there way before Pat Mahomes. But people didn't know that because who was throwing to him? So the quarterback really is that position where on a football team, if you got a good one, you got a great one, y'all are going to do stuff. If you don't, and you have the other pieces, it doesn't matter because you need to have that piece. That piece is a necessity. You can get away with certain things. Oregon can get away with not playing defense in certain games, but you have to have that quarterback. If Oregon didn't have Dylan Gabriel, they would have been an afterthought this year. They would have had multiple losses depending on who was there if they weren't getting the job done. So looking at Georgia, that's the wild card. Because Georgia came into this thing, arguably, the most difficult team to play against. But the question becomes, who's Gunnar Stockton against Notre Dame? If they win, who's Gunnar Stockton against Penn State? If they win, who's Gunnar Stockton against Texas or Ohio State? Because Georgia, in my opinion, coming into this thing, has a really good opportunity of winning it all and winning 3 in a row. But it leans on the shoulders of how good is Gunnar Stockton. And that's a question that is yet to be answered. Now, PJ and I are going to take a look at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl right after this fast break. So we'll take a step aside. When we come back, we'll be talking to you about the game that I was on site for, an instant classic. And the article that I wrote was entitled, and you can go and read it on wakeupcalldt.com, Peach Bowl Ripens with Instant Classic. Go and read the full story of everything that went on inside of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Of course, you can go and see my interviews as well with student athletes and their head coach of Texas. And you can see my field view pregame, postgame, and more all on our social media. We'll talk about it right after this from inside, and I'm so excited I get to say this now, from inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora coming to you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time with
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Very happy to be here with you, hanging out with PJ in this new year. The first show that I did for 2025 was history in the making. I got to be on site, on location at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, to broadcast Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora live from the press box on site at the College Football Playoff for the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. I want to thank Matt Garvey, Gary Stoken, and the entire team, Dylan Faulkner, everybody at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and at Peach Bowl Inc. I want to thank the College Football Playoff, and I want to thank the Texas Longhorns as well as the Arizona State Sun Devils. That's the game we're talking about, PJ, as we take a look at the one that I was at, and that being the Arizona State matchup against the Texas Longhorns. Arizona State was the 4th seed, and the way it is written right now in the College Football Playoff law is that if you're in the 5 highest ranked conference champions, you get an automatic bid into the College Football Playoff. If you're in the top 4 of the 5 highest ranked, you get a bye. And in the case of Arizona State, they were considered to be the 4th highest, the Big 12 champion, so they got the 4 seed. The last seed, or the last automatic bid, went to Clemson, who got the 12th seed, because you're not guaranteed the 5th seed. Top 5 highest ranked, the top 4 get the top 4, and they get a bye. The 5th can be anywhere from 5 to 12. Clemson was 12. In the case of Arizona State, they faced off against the team that played Clemson, Texas, who played them in Austin. That was the closest first-round game that we had. Clemson actually made it a game against Texas, which we couldn't say about a lot of these other games in the first round. Texas goes up against Arizona State. Texas is up against Arizona State in this game and seemingly taking care of business. Their defense showed up early. Their offense showed up early. Their special teams showed up early. And then all of a sudden, here we go. And we watch the Arizona State Sun Devils blaze themselves back into this game. At one point, they had outscored Texas in the second half 21-7. And I was there taking the video. Go back on my social media and watch it. Texas had a couple chances to end this game on a field goal. And the last one, Auburn kicks this ball. It hits the left goalpost so hard that it shakes the goalpost. And you can go back and watch that video. We go into overtime, 24-24. Oregon. Arizona State gets the ball. Arizona State comes down the field. Arizona State scores. And now here comes Texas, and they got to try and equal this thing. And it's 31-24 Arizona State. They've taken a lead now. And on 4th down, Quinn Ewers, he comes into the game, and he gets a touchdown pass. His guy, I'll tell you this, Matt Golden, that link up that he's got with Golden is absolutely golden. And he got that touchdown on 4th down. I think it was 4th and 15. So he gets that touchdown pass. Golden just beat all of his defenders, got down the field. Ewers found him. And then they go into the second overtime. Now Texas is first on the field. And on the very next play, ice water in his veins, Quinn Ewers, a.k.a. Iceman, goes and throws a 25-yard touchdown pass on the first play. And then after that, they get a 2-point conversion. And it's 39-31. And an interception ends the game with Texas's defense finally showing up to take things into their own hands and end the game for the Longhorns moving on. And PJ, they were there just a little bit ago. They were at Mercedes-Benz Stadium for the SEC Championship, and they lost in overtime to the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, this time around, Texas wins. I got to talk with Steve Sarkisian, the head coach, as well as quarterback Quinn Ewers and defensive back Jahdae Barron, and we all spoke about God. We spoke about faith. The last question of the press conference at the College Football Playoff was my question to each of those gentlemen about their faith in God. That, to me, meant more than anything. I'd love to get your thoughts on the Peach Bowl.
Well, where do I start? I mean, Arizona State. I mean, I never watched an Arizona State game because they're out in the West Coast. I never caught it on a Saturday whenever they played. And then Cam Scatbo, I never heard of him. I wasn't up and tuned enough with Arizona State to realize how sensational this man was. He said that he is the best running back in the country. That's what he said before the game. and he damn if he didn't prove it. He ran, he threw, he caught, he did everything. He even barfed on the sideline for crying out loud. So he did it all, and he's humble. They had a picture of him and his father hugging after the game. I mean, of course, he's going to be a first-round draft pick. He may be the first running back pick. I don't know where he came from, but he's been doing it for a long time. He's a senior. He's older, 22 years old. He's 5'10", 215, runs like a Mack truck. Never stopped. His feet never stopped moving. Arizona State was lucky to have this guy, and they almost made a game. They almost proved to me and the rest of the nation that they're good enough to be there. Frankly, they were good enough to be there. They just weren't good enough at the very end. Not because of Cam. Cam stole the show.
Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely incredible. He had 42 passing yards in the Cam Scatterbo, 42 passing yards in the game, 143 rushing yards, 99 receiving yards, 1 passing touchdown, and 2 rushing touchdowns in the game. The dude, I mean, and somebody had brought it up like Christian McCaffrey, a guy that can throw, a guy that can throw, catch, and run the ball. And in the case of Cam Scatterbo, that's what he did. He threw the ball, he ran the ball, he caught the ball, and he was absolutely incredible. By the way, we got to give it up to Kyle Scott, the left guard for this Arizona State Sun Devils team, with Cam Scatterbo in overtime pushing his way forward and never giving up. As he's hitting as he hits his defender and he's trying to stay up and he's sideways and he's leaning like he's going to fall, his offensive lineman Kyle Scott bear hugged him, turned around, put his back to the end zone, and pulled Cam Scatterbo into the end zone. So he literally hugged him and brought him into the end zone. If that ain't an offensive line that respects their running back, I don't know what is. You know, we've been talking about Ashton Jeanty all season, and I have to say this too. I have to plead ignorance. I did not watch Arizona State. I did not see Cam Scatterbo. After being in the post-game press conference with him, after seeing this man and hearing, from him and just feeling his energy and his spirit and watching him on the field, we've been talking this season about Ashton Jeanty. We should have been talking about Jeanty and Scatterbo. And Scatterbo, I mean, I hope the best for him. He's going to play on Sundays. He's going to be one hell of a cat out there. I'm really, really proud of the work that he's done. And more importantly, just seeing him, seeing the type of human being in the short window that I had to get a kind of glance at the world of Cam Scatterbo on and off the field. He just seems like a hell of a person, a hell of a talent, and a hell of a problem for anybody in the NFL.
That's for sure. He proved me wrong, proved the rest of the country wrong. I don't know how many, we total almost over 250 yards of total offense. To me, Ewers didn't look good for most of the game, but he looked good when it counted. When the first play of the overtime, he goes 25 yards for a TB. He didn't look like the kind of player that I thought he was, and I've only seen him a couple times, but he took a back seat to this guy. As a matter of fact, I believe this was the only time in recent history that a losing player got the most valuable player award, and that was Cam Scatterbo.
Yeah, and that was a moment. I'm actually going to share that video on our social media today because the president and CEO of Peach Bowl Inc., someone I've known very well, I have a great friendship with, and he's a faith-filled guy, and that's Gary Stokin. He's the one that presented the award. And so that to me, because when he was bringing that out, I was kind of looking at this going like, what is that award? Because they had lost the game. And Cam Scatterbo won the Peach Bowl MVP. It's the first time in 26 years that a player from the losing team has won the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl MVP. So that, and you always wonder that. You always think about that. Is that something that can happen? Because I've been at games where you see players and you think to yourself, like, this person was better. This person was better. They're on the losing team. It's not their fault. You know what I mean? And so I've been there before where you could argue that somebody on the losing team should be the MVP. Well, in this case, Cam Scatterbo was the MVP. And it was funny because they asked him about throwing up on the side of the field. And he goes, what do you want me to say about it? He goes, yeah, I threw up. He said, I drank water too fast. And he said, so I threw it up. And after I threw it up, kind of learned don't drink water that fast and then get back on the field. So, I mean, this guy is a baller. I mean, honestly, listening to him talk and watching him in that room and, like I said, feeling his energy, this guy could probably go be in the military. I wouldn't be surprised. So, scadaboo and this. And by the way, to their quarterback, Levitt, I mean, he was good too. So, I mean, we don't give a lot of enough credit to him and his ability to run on the ball and his ability to will himself into the end zone. This game was filled with talent on both sides. Texas, and I agree with you, PJ, to a point you made earlier in today's show, Texas needs to get out early, get out often, and handle business. Texas has to play a full 4 quarters, because if Texas plays like they played against Georgia and like they played against Arizona State, I don't think that they're going to have that luck against Ohio State. I think if they go out there and they play the way that they played in some of these moments, they're going to lose to Ohio State 42-14. So, but by the way, I will be at that game. The Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic in Arlington, Texas, which is right around Dallas. It's played at AT&T Stadium, which is the home of the Dallas Cowboys. I will have the opportunity, the blessing, to be on site on location at the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic and have the opportunity to see the Director of Communications, fantastic guy and a friend of mine, Mr. Scotty Rogers. Can't wait to see Scotty. They put on a heck of a show out there for the media, for everybody, for the fans, for the players at the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. So I'm excited for that. I will be seeing Texas and Ohio State on January 10th, by the grace of God, in the semifinals. So I will see one half of the national championship. Whoever makes it out of that game that I'll be at is going to play for a national championship in this historic 12-team playoff year. So, PJ, I mean, the Peach Bowl, it was great. The opportunity was great, and the experience was wonderful. So I look forward to what's to come. I got to talk with you. You called me. It literally hit halftime, and my phone rings. I'm like, PJ was waiting for that one. He was like, halftime. All right, what's up, meatball? So we had the opportunity to talk about it, and it was definitely a great game and hard-fought game by both sides. Texas, again, has to minimize their mistakes, and they need to play better. And Arizona State, man, they gave it everything they could. Nothing to hang their hats about in any way, shape, or form for either team. This was a wonderful game. It was an instant classic. It was the best game of the college football playoff this year so far. I was spoiled to be there. I was blessed to be there. And I look forward to the next one. I mean, if this is any indication of what's to come, we got a good game coming up and hopefully a couple good games coming up. So, PJ, let's pick it before you go. Georgia and Notre Dame, who's going to win the All-State Sugar Bowl when it kicks off today at 4 p.m. Eastern Time?
Well, I got to go with Georgia. Just because of Kirby Smart. I mean, he's going to have his team prepared. He's going to have his quarterback prepared. And I think we're going to see a new star on the horizon. By the way, this Levitt kid for Arizona State's only a freshman. So, we better look for him for the next couple of years. But I think Kirby Smart probably has a better game plan. I just think on the field, position-wise, I think they match up pretty good with Notre Dame. I think that they're bigger, tougher, stronger, faster, because I always think that Notre Dame being slow, back in the days of New Rocky. But I think that Notre Dame would be too slow for this team. If Georgia gets up and starts running and doing the things that they do, their defense starts flying all over the place. It's going to be a long afternoon. So I like Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, this game is going to be exciting because Notre Dame, I still think, is playing with house money in this thing. I mean, and by the way, the Dodd Trophy, which goes out to the nation, one of the trophies that goes out to the nation's top coach each year in college football, went to Marcus Freeman. And so that was presented at halftime. We found out that Marcus Freeman's the winner of the Dodd Trophy, Notre Dame Fighting Irish head coach. So congratulations to him. I mean, we'll see. They had a win over Texas A&M. That was a good win on the road. They lost to Northern Illinois at home. That was a bad loss. Probably the worst loss of any team that made the college football playoff this year. And then since then, they beat Army, which I thought was a good win. Army was undefeated at the time. By the way, Army ended their season with a bowl win. So now the Army Black Knights have the most wins they've ever had in a season with 12. So congratulations to Army on making history. And Navy defeated, just a little old SEC Oklahoma team in their bowl game. So I don't want to hear nothing about these military academies when you got Army setting the new record for most wins in a season with 12 and Navy beating Oklahoma of the SEC. Congratulations to both of those military academy programs for the work that they've done. It's a pleasure to cover them. And by the way, the AD at Army is leaving Army to become the AD at TCU, Mike Buddy. So my best to him and my hopes for his future and for Army finding the right leader to step forward. So Notre Dame, going back to their season, win over Texas A&M, first game of the season, good stuff on the road. Lost to Northern Illinois, not good. Win over Army, good. Oh, and then did they play in their conference championship? No. Did they win their conference championship? No. Because they don't have a conference championship, PJ. They're the only team in the country besides UConn that doesn't have a conference championship. The difference between them and UConn is that UConn's never going to get in the college football playoff, even if they go undefeated, because they don't have the clout of Notre Dame. And I don't say that in a mean way. I don't say that that's my opinion. I'm saying that as the truth. Notre Dame, after UMass joins the MAC, coming up, I think, this upcoming season, there's only going to be two schools that don't have a home, Notre Dame and UConn. But Notre Dame, if they go to 11-1 or 12-0, they don't get punished. They don't have to play a conference championship. They don't have to win a conference championship. They only have to get to 11 or 12 wins a season, and they're in. That, to me, is pretty cushy, pretty nice. Now Notre Dame's going to have a big old test. It's against Georgia without Carson Beck, but it's a big old test. We'll see what Gunnar Stockton can do. We'll see what Notre Dame can do. I'm still looking for Notre Dame's first quality win of the season that is like in that upper echelon. This would be it. So Notre Dame going up against Georgia. And I think that there's a song about how the devil went down to Georgia, but he never made it out. Those Georgia Bulldogs, they got some fight in them. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, well, they got fight in their name. So who's going to win this game? Is it touchdown Jesus or is it them dogs? Well, I got to go with Fran Brown, the head coach of Syracuse, who was an assistant at Georgia for the last two national championships. And he talked about going into the college football playoff, and he spoke about SMU, and he spoke about Clemson, and he said, I'm happy for the ACC, and I'm happy that they got this, and I'm happy that they got that. But he said, with all that being said, go Dogs. And I'm going to have to say go Dogs on this one, too. By the way, there were some Georgia Bulldog fans at that game yesterday at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. So they want to see Texas for a third time, maybe. We'll see. But the Georgia Bulldogs, in order to get there, they got to go through Notre Dame. And like I said, the devil went down to Georgia, but I don't think he made it out. I'm going with the Georgia Bulldogs to win this matchup, although I hope it's a great game. And I cannot wait. After all this travel, by the grace of God and by the blessing of God, I can wonderful people along the way as well, and hard work, dedication, and determination. As much as I've loved the road, there are few things that I will love more than sitting in my theater room on my couch with my dog while it snows outside at 4 p.m. Eastern time today to watch the All-State Sugar Bowl. New Orleans, I love you. To the people out there that want to harm others, I pray that you find God. I pray that all the perpetrators turn their heart to Jesus Christ and that they stop, that there are no more victims, and that we can simply play this football game and enjoy time together. PJ, final note on the college football playoff. You got another thing you want to say?
No, but I do going to give a little kudos to your team, Syracuse, and I'm going to say it right here on Wake Up Call with you, is that Cal McCord will be a first-round draft pick. This guy was sensational. He looked poised, confident, never was rattled, and he played this way for Ohio State for a while. How did they ever let him go? Or how did he ever leave? I mean, and he came over here and just led you. led you guys to where you were. I mean, Fran's a good coach and everything, but he saw something with this guy, and he's going to prove it on Sundays.
Yeah, Kyle McCord, by the way, we talk about these quarterbacks. We talk about Levitt. We talk about Ewers. We talk about Manning. We talk about Beck. We talk about Gabriel. We talk about Cam Ward. But who has the most passing yards in the country right now? That's Kyle McCord, baby. That's Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord, we talk about Will Howard, the guy that took over at Ohio State with Kyle McCord leaving. Well, he's got more yards than Will Howard. So Kyle McCord, who should have been in New York City as a finalist for the Heisman Trophy, was not there, should have been there. Kyle McCord, in my opinion, would make an NFL team very happy, especially this season, if that were to happen. Because we don't have a deep pool that we're swimming in for quarterbacks in the 2025 NFL Draft. So Kyle McCord could definitely, in my opinion, find himself a home and maybe find himself on the field sooner than later. With that being said, Papa Joe, College Football Playoff, speaking on the outcomes and what's to come right here on Wake Up Call inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. PJ, I will bid you adieu for this morning as we get ready for Will Amica. I appreciate you. Stay warm in your non-snow 38 degrees while we're here. And, I always say God's up in heaven, and every once in a while he just shakes his snow globe in Syracuse and sees what happens. But listen, I love the snow. I'm going to go get groceries after I'm done with the show. Got to go get groceries, go home, relax, because I want to be prepared for what may be to come here. So I got to have my bananas, my strawberries, my shakes, and I'll be good to go. Papa Joe, as always, I send you my love. Happy New Year to you, MT, Mr. Joey. A happy birthday to Diana, and a shout out and a Happy New Year to her, the kids. And, of course, I have to say a Happy New Year to Miss Marissa Tomei and and to the Boom Boom, the go-so of cats. So we love you, PJ. We'll talk with you soon.
All right. Thanks, bud.
All right,
see you later.
That coming from Papa Joe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We will take a step aside for a fast break. Will Amica, for those of you that are wondering, when is that special coming up? Well, it's coming up in just a moment, right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Coming to you, as I can proudly say, for the first time ever, from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to K9 Campground.
Welcome here to a very special edition of the Dolphin Dive here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Moyne College Dolphins. I am proud to be here in this edition of the Dolphin Dive. As I am on the road, I had to stop everything I was doing to talk with someone I consider like a little brother, part of the family, and that is Will Amica. I was with him, and it's funny that I'm sitting here in an airport because I flew home years ago when he was at West Genesee and him and his teammates were fighting for a state title. I gave them my word that if they were going to get into the state playoffs, that I would be there to watch them. I left the ACC tournament early in Charlotte, North Carolina, flew home to be with these guys in Binghamton. And so I held my end of the bargain, and then Will Amica and the crew held their end of the bargain and won the first ever New York State title for West Genesee boys basketball. So it's only fitting that I stopped everything once again in an airport to talk to my guy. Will, how we doing?
Well, how about you? I never knew that you left the ACC playoffs to come see us, though.
I did. Yeah, I left. Yeah, I think it was in the semifinals. I said I gave them my word. I have to keep my word. I got up. I got on a plane, went straight to Syracuse, got my car in the airport, and didn't go home. I took my car from the airport and drove straight to Binghamton.
That means even more. Then appreciate you even more.
Well, it's my pleasure and it's my honor, man. So we are here with Will Amica. This is his first season with the Moyne College Dolphins men's basketball program. Will, what have you taken away from it, starting a season in the Dome, being back there? You know, obviously that brings back high school moments for you. You and I talked after that game, but to reflect on it now, hindsight 2020, what did it mean to be inside of the Dome now that you've gotten to think about it?
Again, it means a lot just being from Syracuse. The history of the Dome, just the history of Syracuse University, playing there it's like an honor almost. But I feel like through 2024, I've taken every game and just learned from it. That's what I've been trying to do, just learn and grow from every game.
And in learning and growing from every game, we've seen that you can be a guy that the team can rely on. You can be the guy that's going to take that shot. What does it mean to you to be in your first season with Moyne and the head coach, Nate Champion, trusting in you, putting you out there and giving you the opportunity to make a difference?
It means everything. Just playing with someone playing when you know that the coach believes in you, you just have a whole different confidence. You can play a whole different game. You can play loose. It just means everything. Yeah, I love Moyne. Love playing here. It's been great.
Yeah, and you went through injury and, you know, had to deal with things at UAlbany and had the game taken away from you outside of your control. For those who don't know, I want to go through that journey with you. You decide to go to UAlbany, bring me into, you're at UAlbany, you're working to play, then through the injury, and then everything from there, because your story is one of adversity, and it's one of belief and faith and just staying true to who you are. And I want to share that story because it's one thing to see you play for Moyne, but it's another thing to know how you got here. So I'd love for you to share that.
Yes, sir. Okay, so I graduate from West Genesee and go to Albany. So it's COVID, so we're getting ready for the season. Season's starting a little bit later, so we've just been getting in the gym at like random gyms that we can get in because we can't really get in the gym on campus yet. So one day I'm in the gym, like right before the season starts, and I'm shooting, and I don't know, my elbow starts to feel a little weird. So then this is like the day before our first practice. So then I end up waking up the next day and I have like a big, almost ball on my elbow. So I was probably out for like a month. I could barely straighten my arm. Uh, I don't even know what I did to it, honestly, though. But it's probably out for a month with that, just on a weird injury. But then got back from that and got to play my first game. So felt great. Played my first game. Felt great. About like felt like, yeah, okay, I'm in the college groove. Okay. Then after that, the practice after that, I got a concussion. So I got a concussion. I didn't get cleared for my concussion for about, I can't even tell you how long, but a little while. But because it was the COVID season, the season was shorter. So by the time I got cleared from that concussion, it was already playoffs. So I got cleared that game. We ended up losing that game. So that was my freshman season. Then sophomore season comes around. Um, Practice has been cool. I've been getting a little wear and tear. I ended up having a hip impingement in my left hip, but I was playing through it. So all the scrimmages are cool. Played all the scrimmages, and then we get to the first game. The practice before the first game, another weird injury. Someone ended up running through my other hip, and I ended up tearing my other labrum. So now I have two torn labrums. So basically, they told me that I need to get the surgery. So that was my sophomore season. Then my junior season at Albany, I was like, because I had to get the two surgeries, my recovery was kind of a little slower. So by the time the season got around the next year, I wasn't really 100%. I couldn't really move the way that I move, or I couldn't play the way that I play. Like the way that I play basketball, I need to be mobile. I couldn't move the way that I play. I couldn't do that. So I talked to my coach. He thought it would be a good idea to get another medical red shirt and just try to get my body right, and then uh, look forward to the next year and just keep my mind focused on basketball, but just look forward to the next year. So then my senior year come around at Albany, and that's really like the first season that I got to play a full season, and it was great. Few ups and downs, but it was great in the end. I can't complain. Learned a lot. Can't complain.
So when we look at that, you come to Lemoyne, and by schooling, you're what, graduate now? But how many years of eligibility do you have?
Including this year, so I have 3. So after this year, I have 2 more.
So, I mean, at this point, are we going to have Dr. Amica, I guess?
Maybe. Basically, Dr. Amica.
So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, to have the game taken away so many times, you've fully gotten your education. You got your education at UAlbany. You're getting your graduate at Lemoyne. Are you thinking of playing out your eligibility and having 2 more years after this year?
Yeah, I definitely want to play basketball as long as I can. I love it. I don't want to say waiting, but I've been patient. So I want to stick through and play as long as I can.
See, it's music to my ears. And selfishly, I'm happy to have you back in central and upstate New York, but I'm sad that you had to go through what you went through. How did you get through it? How did you handle it? We talk about mental health now more than ever. When I was in school, there wasn't the conversation about mental health. There wasn't a lot of places to go, or if we even knew what place to go when it came to mental health, because the commonality of what people would say to you is, get over it, you're too weak, stop acting like that, figure it out. You go through all this stuff that can cause a mental health crisis. How did you get through it, and did you utilize any resources that student athletes have now?
With me, I have a great support system. Like I tell my people all the time, like, I love them so much. I have one of the best support systems around. So for me, it was kind of, I don't want to say it wasn't easy, but I had people to talk to all the time. I always had someone to talk to. I could always call either my mom, my dad, my brother, my friends. Like, I always had someone to talk to who told me, like, just be patient. Just stay down. Be patient. Everything's gonna work out. Everything happens for a reason. Everything's written. Like this was supposed to happen. So just stay down and trust God. Everything's gonna go right.
You said you got a great support system, great people around you. What can you say to how that group kind of works with you? Like if it's a good day, if it's a rough day, whatever it may be, how would you describe kind of the culture and the environment of your people?
Like if I have a good day, if I have a bad day, either way, it doesn't matter. Like I feel like whenever like I call my mom or call my dad or talk to my brother, it doesn't matter what happened throughout the day. Like it's almost like an escape. Like I can just I don't know, be myself, just talk, say anything, see how their day was, ask them what get out of my head and you know, see what their day was like, you know, and I don't know, it helps me a lot. Especially this year. Like I'm literally living at my house this year. So I have that support system around all the time.
And like you said, you mentioned your brother. I got to speak with him when I continue those conversations at the Wildcat we do every month with West Genesee. And so, Christian comes up, he sits with me, and I'm looking at him and I'm going, this dude's a little bit taller. You know what I mean? Like a little bit taller. And we were talking about you and him, and I think we were talking about playing in the driveway and whatnot. So I want to clear the air here. How good is Christian, and what is it like when you guys go up against each other?
I'm gonna be honest. Christian's tough. He's tough. But when we go up against each other, it's like we gotta be careful playing against each other because we're both ultra competitive. So it's like the game could go one or two ways. But he can't mess with me though.
Okay, fair enough. Do you think he would say the same thing, or do you think he would say the opposite and look me in the eye and say, "No, Will can't. Will can't."
I know for a fact he would say the opposite.
So you say that it can go one of two ways. Remember the most heated moment that you guys maybe had going up against each other? Can you go back to a time where you're like, man, this Thanksgiving we came home and it was about to be a bloodbath in the driveway. I mean, do you remember a time like that?
The most heated battle we got into was actually in video games. And I'm gonna be honest, like that was the last day I really played video games. We were I can't even remember how young we was. We were so young though, but it was the first day Christian really he spanked me in 2K. And I wasn't having it. Like I was not having it.
So you retired.
I retired.
Okay, fair enough.
He put me in the retirement. I agree.
Fair enough. So Luke Sutherland, who was with you at West Jenny when you guys won that title that I got to be there for that I mentioned, the New York State title, and the first one for West Jenny, hopefully more down the road. Luke decides in his journey and everything that he's been through, he ends up coming to Lemoyne. And Lemoyne ends up going D1, and he gets the opportunity to make history with Lemoyne. And he does a phenomenal job. His shot gets better. He takes over games. And I just saw Luke healthy. Again, another guy that went through some stuff. So seeing him come through the adversity, get healthy, play as well as he played, and watch people get excited and enjoy seeing him. And I'm looking around going, y'all didn't know that this is what Luke does? I mean, this is Luke. So my thing is, Luke played a couple seasons at Lemoyne. You got the opportunity to play a few seasons at Lemoyne. How come y'all didn't time this right?
We tried. It just didn't work out, but it would have been crazy, though, if we could have had that link up back in college. It would have been crazy.
So for you, I mean, do you still keep in touch with the guys that you won that title with? I mean, do you have like a text chain or something that you try to kind of keep you all together?
Yeah, we have a little anniversary every year on the day that we won. Everybody texting a group chat like happy anniversary. I see everybody now and then. I still hang out with Cam all the time. So it's like everybody's still close. Everybody still remembers. Everybody still thinks about it from our side at least.
Are you confident or not confident that Fred Kent will get me a ring at some point?
So it's out. I mean, hopefully, 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 because are you talking about from us or them winning another one?
Either or. I mean, I think the ship's passed. I'm not going to get a ring from that one, but
Yeah.
that I was part of the family. So I'm just saying this out loud to the world so that Fred will see it. And I'm just trying to get you to help me out.
This is what I'm gonna say. West Jenny got some weapons and they're dangerous. I'll say that.
Fair enough. That coming from Will Amica here. Before we jump into rapid fire, let's get into this first season at Lemoyne. Obviously, it's year 2 in the school's transition to Division I. You guys have a lot of challenges that you face, especially in non-conference play, not shying away from anything, playing teams like Army West Point, and then, having these tests that have come being away from home, going up against Notre Dame, going up against Syracuse, and last year it was Georgetown and Villanova before you got here. What can you say about the non-conference play that you've been through and what it's taught you here to have such a gamut that Lemoyne plays?
Well, our non-conference schedule is pretty tough, so it taught us to be tougher. We need to be tougher. We need to do all the little things to make us a tough team, including like, say we get a stop. We need to rebound and not just rebound and be okay with that, but rebound and go down and score. That's what we need to focus on, the little things, just being tougher and more connected and focused on the little things.
You talk about being connected and focused on the little things. You played a team that knows what it's like to be at the top of the mountain. 2 years in a row, the UConn Huskies have won national championships. You went to UConn, played them in Connecticut, and hung with them early on in the game. I was watching that game on FS1, I think it was on. Bring me into that experience of going up against a national championship team, a back-to-back national championship team, and what your takeaways were from that game.
It was a great environment. It was just a great game to play in. Everybody always dreams of playing in those kind of games. They were playing back-to-back national champions, FS1. Everybody dreams of playing those games. So it was just a great environment. It was just a great game to play. Yeah.
So from the adversity, from the losses this season up to this point, you said learn things, learn about how to take care of the little things. Don't just rebound, but rebound, get down on the other end and score. What can you say has been your biggest improvement personally from day one at Lemoyne to where you guys are right now heading into conference play?
I think me personally, I've just been focusing on trying to grow. Just grow my game in every aspect. Not trying to just focus on one thing, but improving in every aspect. Just being a better point guard, being a better teammate, being a better player, just improving in any way possible.
When you look around the locker room and at practice and in the classroom with the guys that you have on this team, your teammates, the student athletes that are on this men's basketball team at Lemoyne, what is it like to be in this environment, and how would you describe who these guys are to you and how this team is on and off the court?
It's a great environment to be in. It's like we're all like brothers. Like we all came close super fast too. It was kind of crazy, but we're all like a family, honestly. Like we're all like brothers, brotherhood. So I love them all. Yeah.
Is this team, in your opinion, right now more inside out or outside in on offense?
I feel like that's our threat. Like we're versatile. I feel like we could go either way, like depending on the matchups in the game. Feel like if a team's giving us the three, we have weapons where we can shoot the three. But if a team's giving us the lane, I feel like we can also get inside and finish. So I feel like it's just depending on who we match up with.
You were in the transfer portal, so you know what it's like to experience it. How would you describe the transfer portal, how coaches get in touch, what it was like for you? Because NIL and the transfer portal were not supposed to work together. You were supposed to go in the transfer portal, decide where you want to go, sign there, get there, and then once you're there, then maybe NIL can open up. We've seen a lot of tampering, a lot of things that are just off the wall in collegiate athletics. What was your experience like in the transfer portal? Did you have any experiences where people were kind of just pushing you to get in the portal, saying like, "Will, I got you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." I mean, how did you experience the portal?
Nah, I didn't have any body pushing me to get in the portal. I made that decision myself. So I entered the portal the day it opened, and then I just got a few calls. Lemoyne told me to come down and visit. Came. I love the school, so I came here.
What was it about Nate Champion and the staff that made you believe them? Because in today's day and age, it's really clear the people that are transactional versus the people that are relationship driven. What was it about Nate and his staff that made you believe this isn't a transaction, this is a relationship, this is a staff that I can trust?
Honestly, it was just a feeling. Cause honestly, you can never know that, but it's just a feeling, and it ended up working out. I felt like I could trust them. I felt like what they were saying was the truth, and I ended up being happy coming here. So
Best thing about being at Lemoyne so far off the court, and best thing on the court so far, Alan?
off the court is just being just at home, just being able to come home, hang out with my friends from here. Like it's just an unbelievable feeling. Just being able to. It's also being able to escape. Like I'm not on campus all the time. I can get off campus and escape for a little bit. But um, on the court, I would say that the best thing is, I mean, knock on wood, and thank God, but it's because I've been healthy. Like I've been playing this year. Yeah, I've been playing basketball. I can't complain. Like that's the best part about it. Like I'm playing basketball.
When a game is taken away from you, I'm sure you can appreciate it more. I knew you appreciated it before, but when you step on the floor, like I asked you your favorite moment this season, and you said just being able to play, just playing basketball, and that big smile that you had on your face, having the appreciation going through the adversity, is it really just not even about like, oh, I got to see the ball go in the basket and I got to do this, I got to do that? I mean, is it really just going out on the court and spinning that ball in your hands and looking up at God and saying thank you before every game?
That's definitely first. That's definitely first, but I do also worry about the ball doing the right thing. I'm not gonna say just going in the basket, but the ball doing the right thing. Like if I don't want to turn the ball over, I don't want to. You feel me? But like first off, I'm just happy to be able to play basketball. I thank God every night, every morning that I'm able to play basketball. So that comes first.
Talk about your faith, and it's something that, as you know, is very important to me as well. What can you say about your faith in God, how it drives you, how it helps you, how it's always there? I mean, people try to kind of, I think, make people, places, and things their God, and those things let you down, but God doesn't ever let you down. He's always on time. He's consistent. loving, caring, and if you let him, he'll take your darkest moments and bring out the brightest light. So speak to me on your faith and why it's so important to you.
I mean, without God, like how would I still be here? Honestly, like if you think about it, like I don't want to say a lot of people in my position would have just quit, but I feel like a lot of people would have. Like God has blessed me with so many reasons to keep going, so many resources, so much of everything to keep going. Like I'm so blessed. Like my mother tells me every day I'm so blessed. I tell my mother every day I'm so blessed. Like it's it's crazy. I don't even know. I don't know where I'll be, honestly.
Mom and Dad Amica, what do you want to say to them right now? If they're sitting here watching, what would you like to say to them? I mean, the last time I talked to your mom is when I went from Binghamton over to Albany to see the girls play, and she looked at me and she goes, "You don't sleep, do you?" And I'll never forget that. She looked at me and she's like, "You don't sleep." I said, "You don't either." And she's like, "Yeah." So, what can you say about Mom and Dad? What do you want to tell Mom and Dad right now?
Thank you for everything. I love you. Yeah, they know. Like I tell them every day, like I love them so much. I love my family. Like I can't even put it into words for, but just thank you for everything.
Well, with that being said, here on this edition of the Dolphin Dive, our exclusive multimedia partnership with Moyne College and your Dolphin wake-up call, it is time for Will and I to play rapid fire. So, Will, with that being said, you get to ask me the first question.
Okay. What year do you think West Jenny had their best basketball team?
What year did they have their best basketball team?
Yeah, no matter, not saying like if just because we won, but what year do you think West Jenny had their best basketball team?
I mean, honestly, from my connection over the years, there's been moments where I thought, okay, this team could be close. You know, there was within the last couple of years how good they and Liverpool and just like seeing that back and forth. But I mean, if I have to pick selfishly, I got to pick that run because, you know, if they ever did a 30 for 30 or they did some type of, you know, story in the background, like I would love if they did. I mean, maybe I should just do it here on Wake Up Call, but to interview you all and then get to talk from like my experience from my seat. I still to this day, I have a ton of pictures and videos on my phone, and sometimes I have to get rid of stuff to get space. And I never delete the pictures and the videos. I still have them on my phone from that day in Binghamton when y'all won. And I interviewed Luke and I interviewed you. And I mean, that was just, to me personally, that was the best year for West Jenny because it was this like historic, monumental, you know, a true underdog story. Who thought you were going to make it? Who thought you were going to do it? You achieved it as a team, and I knew you guys, and that's what made it different. It's like, you know, when you get to know a team, and I've gotten to know the teams over the years, but when you know the people that are out there fighting, it's just different. And like looking at your team and looking up and down it and just remembering like all throughout the team, like knowing the guys and looking for each of you guys when the game ended and being like, I got to go hug him and I got to hug him. And I can't forget about him and where'd he go? And just being on the court. I mean, I've seen a lot of things. I've been to NBA games and college games and the Final Four and the championship game. But I'd be hard-pressed to say that standing on that court with people that I know, that I could find a more happier moment for people that, like, I respect and people that I know work really hard. And I'll never forget that moment. So I'd have to say that year. My question back to you, if you could take over my show for the day and it was Wake Up Call with Will Amica, what 3 guests would you have on the show?
3 guests from what though? Like from
Anything,
Lemoyne, from anywhere,
literally anything.
anything. Okay. I'll probably interview. Let me get a good thing. I'll probably interview. I say I gotta bring Brian. Gotta bring Brian. I bring music, so I gotta bring Uzi. I got a few questions to ask Uzi, and then I could pick like a superhero to interview or something.
Yeah.
Batman.
All right. Why Batman?
He just mysterious. Like he moved too mysterious. Like I got a few questions to ask me.
Well, I do a lot of impersonations, and one of the ones I do is Bane from Batman.
Okay.
So, and I tell people it's just Sean Connery with like a buzz on, and it's Bane, but you don't even know that. But I mean, so I'll do it like at random times, and my buddy Isaac and I, it's funny because I think it's one of the things he said from the movie, but out of nowhere, you just kind of like walk up on someone and go, "I was born in the dark." But yeah, I like that Batman thing. What's your last question for me?
um, what's your favorite? What's your top 3 sides on Thanksgiving?
Top 3 sides.
Hmm.
My grandma's sweet potatoes, which I make now. So G-Mama's sweet potatoes, 1. 2, this cornbread casserole dish that my friend Amy makes. And 3, I would say the stuffing that my dad's recipe that I make now that he gave me to make. I picked those 3.
Good lineup. That's a good lineup.
All right, let me see here. What do I got for you? My final question. Okay, so I'm going to go to superhero.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't choose Batman, but
Mm-hmm.
if you could turn into any current superhero, like you and I were going to be in a movie and we get to play superheroes, what superhero would you pick for yourself? Which one would you pick for me? And what city would we protect?
Well, I mean, if I'm picking any super, it's hard not to honestly pick Superman if I'm gonna be him. So I'd be Superman. I make what's the one dude? What's the one dude who can fly? Who's like on fire? You know what I'm talking about?
Human Torch.
Human Torch. I make you Human Torch, and we protect. Um, now we going to Gotham. We gonna protect Gotham.
So basically, today's New York City.
Yeah.
So why did you pick Human Torch for me?
I don't know. That's one of my other favorite superheroes. Just because, like, I don't even know why. Honestly, I just always liked him.
I just think it's funny because when they were coming up with stuff, because Marvel and working in the movie world is something that I want to do, and I intend to do. And there was a filter where you could make yourself be on fire. So I did a couple of videos of that, saying like I'm ready to be the Human Torch. So I just find it funny that you said that, because when I did that, I was like, I could play the Human Torch. I could do that. I could play with that. So I like that. What villain would we go up against?
I don't even think it matter, honestly. Like I don't even villains would probably leave our city. They probably get out of there when they see us around. You know, it wouldn't even matter.
I love that, and that is said by a true brher here, true part of my family, saying if we came to the city, it doesn't matter the villain because he would run. I love that. Well, I hope that the rest of this season, when they see you coming, Will, they get out the way.
Yes, sir.
With that being said, the Moyne Dolphins men's basketball program is in their 2024-25 season. Come and see them at home at Ted Grant Court, Syracuse, and of course on the road. It's time to get into the NEC play for the Northeast Conference, and you can see a local turned D1 athlete here and back at home in Will Amica. So, Will, for you and for your family, for Christian, for mom and dad, and all of your support system, I want to say thank you to each of you that support Will and that have been here for Will and helped to get him through this journey and get him to where he is right now and make him the person that he is. And, for me to have Will be the person that he is means a lot. So with that being said, I truly appreciate my brother. Can't say enough about him. And I thank you for tuning into this edition of the Dolphin Dive on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Of course, we have Dolphin Time every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We had to change it up a little bit for travel and the holidays. We'll be back to our normal schedule here in the new year. And you can be sure that if it comes from Lemoyne, it's coming through Wake Up Call first. And we are covering all of the sports as we have over the years, student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni, and hoping nothing but the best for the men's basketball team, for all of the teams out there, and of course for my little brother Will. With that being said, God bless, no stress, do your best. We'll talk soon.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there was something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand. That's why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There was a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience, it's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really changed the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allow customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servamation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machine, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machine. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. Find your way over to GG Cards and Breaks for all of your sports card and trading card needs. They have Disney Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, basketball, hockey, baseball, football, soccer, and more while supplies last. Go and get their singles, their graded cards, their packs, their potential one-on-ones, rookie patch autos. So many awesome things there. They have autographs from celebrities that are in there as well. So a lot of great stuff that you can find at GG Cards and Breaks by heading over there today. There's packs, there's boxes for you to open up and try your luck. And we appreciate in the new year you continuing to support local with GG Cards and Breaks, my sports card and trading card shop of choice. Let them know that DT sent you. And it's so much fun, and you get to be a big kid, and you get to do it with your kids. So head out there. There's 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, and on Sundays from 10 to 5. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you hanging out on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Means the world to me to have you here on the broadcast of Wake Up Call. And of course, to, for the first time ever, be able to say as we step into the new year here in 2025, that we're not just here on Wake Up Call, but that we're here inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. That's right, folks. Great Lakes Honda City, our exclusive studio partner here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And we are here. Call with Dan Tortora, and you can find out more about Great Lakes Honda City by simply going to our website, wakeupcalldt.com. That's wakeupcalldt.com. Look for the Great Lakes logo, and you can also go directly to Great Lakes Honda City by going to their website, greatlakeshondacity.com, and see their new and used vehicles and their vast array of wonderful vehicles to bring home to you, all different shapes and sizes. And the place that I've gone to get my vehicle for many years, Great Lakes Honda City, right there on 7916 Henry Clay Boulevard Great Lakes Honda City, that you can find today. And it's a little snowy, but you can find 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard. So that's 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Head off to Honda City today. Great Lakes Honda City, the exclusive studio partner of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Many thanks for all of you for tuning in on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, here where sports meets life. Thank you, Jerry said very good. Love it. YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT. And on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com is how you can find Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life worldwide. And of course, once we go live, we jump into the archives. You can find us on Amazon Music, as well as Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you got to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Big time thanks to our incredible partners, of course, the Brooklyn Pickle down on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. When you're down in North Carolina, make sure you head off to the Brooklyn Pickle and get the best sandwich that you're going to find around 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. The Brooklyn Pickle down the road from Pinehurst Golf Course. You can also visit our incredible team of partners in Central and Upstate New York. As we step into the new year, we step into year 12, I believe, with Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub in year 8, Servomation, one of our new team members, Mother's Cupboard, in multiple years with us, and where you can get my sandwich, the Q Smack Mother, bacon, egg, and cheese inside a 2-piece of French toast. Pick it up and eat it like a sandwich. Cut it up and have it with some syrup 7 days a week. Of course, Carvel DeWitt has my DT Dolphin Sunday as an ode to the Moyne College Dolphins. That's available 7 days a week. Don't let the cold weather fool you. That Moyne DT Dolphin Sunday is right there with you at Carvel DeWitt exclusively on days like today and on days where it's sunny and 75. Avicoli's, multiple years of partnership with them. I believe we're in year 6, if not year 7. I think it's year 6. Great Lakes Honda City, our exclusive studio partner, over a decade with them. Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding, I believe, is in year 7. I want to say 6 or 7. GG Cards and Breaks in year 2. Mon Paz in year 6. The snack capital of the world on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Pizza Man, I believe, is in year 4 with us. It's got to be year 4 with us at Pizza Man Pub. Chick-fil-A Cicero, we've been with them almost the entire time that they've been open, so I think we've been with them for 7 years. Brian's Landing is a new partner of ours, and of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Moyne College Dolphins, it's fins up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So we appreciate them so very much. The Moyne College Dolphins, student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni coming on to the show. AD and DT featuring Phil Brown, the leader of the athletic department at Moyne, and the Dolphin Dive with student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. Find it all by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. You also find Moyne on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. You know what it is, but I'm going to tell you what it is anyways. Fins up. The Bryant and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here in Syracuse. The Bobcats have 2 campuses very easily located for you right outside of the city of Syracuse on James Street up the hill from the city of Syracuse. And you'll also find them right off of Route 57 in Liverpool across the street from Avicoli's. The Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse provides an opportunity as a hidden gem that I don't want to hide anymore, so we're not. Telling people about their awesome opportunities, their great job placement, many programs for people to go to college for the first time or go back to college. And if you have some eligibility, there's a more of an open window for eligibility than the NCAA, as the Bobcats are inside of the USCAA. You can find out all of our you can find our student athletes, coaches, and administration specials by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the BSC Syracuse playlist. The Bobcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. You'll find Binghamton every single week on Tuesdays during Bearcat time, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern time. You will find the Bearcats. They were on Wednesday this week as we were going through a holiday week, and they'll be back on Tuesday moving forward. You could find our student athletes, coaches, and administration content by going simply to our YouTube channel on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find the Binghamton playlist. You can also find your Bearcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora would like to thank great Papa Joe, the grand old smooth one, the awesome PJ. I'm the only show with a PJ. I'm happy to have Papa Joe here on the broadcast. The only show with this PJ, I should say. So happy to have Papa Joe here with us to speak on the college football playoff as we get set for the All-State Sugar Bowl today at 4 p.m. Eastern Time in New Orleans, Louisiana. May everybody be safe, healthy, happy, and well. God bless to you all, and God bless this wonderful country and this wonderful world, this wonderful universe, all created under one maker. And many thanks to all of the first responders and everybody that was there to put their lives on the line to make sure that no more lives were lost in New Orleans. It's sad that I even have to mention this, but the All-State Sugar Bowl postponed because of evil. And now goodness will rise again, as it always does. So let's keep God first, and let's enjoy the Sugar Bowl today. Notre Dame going up against Georgia. That's going to be at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I can't wait to see it. God bless to them all, and a God bless to Will Amica and the Amica family as Will joined me to continue his story that we have told for many years here on Wake Up Call. And appreciate Will, West Genesee alum, New York State champion in boys basketball, and now with the Moyne College Dolphins with this season and 2 more seasons of eligibility after this. And just looking forward to everything that's going to come with Will on and off the court. And God bless to my little brother. So for Papa Joe, for Will Amica, for family, I thank you for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We started the new year making history, broadcasting for the first time ever on site, on location, live from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia for the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. And now we make history again here on Wake Up Call in 2025. It's only the second day of 2025. We've made history twice, and that is in the announcement of our studio partner. We are proud to welcome Great Lakes Honda City in a more expanded role on Wake Up Call. They've been with us as partners for Boulevard in Liverpool, New York, and you can get more information by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. I hope you have a fantastic day. Stay safe, stay warm, stay well. And find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. Thanks to the awesome drivers that I've had, and thanks to the awesome pilots and everyone that I've had in my travels here over the last few weeks. Thank you to my buddy Donald for his great hospitality, and thank you to each and every single one of you for being with me along the road. And I hope you chase your dreams, follow them, catch them, and go beyond them with God in this new year. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. Once again, wakeupcalldt.com. Go and see all of our college football playoff content. I just added a new playlist to our library on YouTube that will take you to all of the college football playoff content that we have on youtube.com /wakeupcalldt. For now, from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, this is Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You are amazing. Happy New Year.